Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Vivino, the world's largest online wine marketplace. The Vivino app makes it easy to choose wine. Enjoy expert team support, door-to-door delivery, and honest wine reviews to help you choose the perfect wine for every occasion. Vivino. Download the app on Apple or Android and discover an easier way to choose wine.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast. We'd like to welcome you today to Wine 2021 Clubhouse Marathon in collaboration with the UK Wine Show, Interpreting Wine, and Bevology Inc. Today, we're traveling into the Valpolicella wine hills to meet our guest, Mariano Buglioni of the Azienda Agricola Buglioni. Welcome, Mariano. It's great to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, Mark, and welcome back to Verona.
Oh, it's so good to be back in Italy.
Yeah.
Now, Mariano, you've just been telling me you've had a fabulous harvest this year. It's gone well. Tell us about where your vineyards are. Tell us about, I want our listeners to really have a picture of the Valpolicella, the classic part of the Valpolicella.
Yeah, let's say Classico Valpolicella area is located northwest compared to Verona, so it's towards downtown and Garda Lake, right in between. It belongs to just 5 villages: San Pietro in Cariano, where we are, then we have Negrar, then we have Sant'Ambrogio, then we have Fumane, and then we have, mamma mia, I've got, when you don't remember a name that is in front of you.
These are the 5 valleys that are coming down from the mountain.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we are right in the middle of the 5 valleys because San Pietro in Cariano is located right in front of all of them. And our property is producing, of course, our land is producing grape since when we started. So we started the middle of the 90s with just a few hectares. It was a little bit less than 4 hectares, and then slowly we started to increase and improve. Right now we are farming close to 50 hectares in the Classico area, and since 19 we became totally organic. So all the 50 hectares have been converted in organic. Mm-hmm. And as you were asking, the vintage for us seems to be one of the best since last 15 years because we just finished last Friday, and really the grape was outstanding. It was super perfect, and there was not any kind of issue. We didn't get any frost. We didn't get any kind of issue. So really one of the best vintages since a long time.
Wow, that's really great to hear. And this year of all years, it's really fabulous to have that good, positive news. Your vineyards are in the old dry stone terraced hills of the Valpolicella?
No, we have been lucky because we found a big portion in Valpolicella Classica area that is kind of flat. We are 150, 160 meter above the sea level, but is like a huge terrace on this level. And over there we can say that we are in a flat area, but is already in a kind of a high altitude. It's not at the sea level at all.
And the family began the winery in the 90s. So you're the second generation that's then taken over the family of vineyards. Did you always expect that you would move into wine as a profession?
No, not at all. Because going back to my family, previously we were doing textiles or garment. We were doing something totally different. And just by coincidence, buying a little property with a rustic house on top of it, just to go and live there with the family, we purchased this property, and on top of that there were these 4 hectares of vineyard. That's the reason, because we had to start to harvest, but we didn't know how to cut the grape. We didn't know anything about it. So it was right out of the blue, what shall we do with the grape? Because it's ready and we have to do something. So
wow, that's a fascinating story. And then little by little, that wine seeped into your blood and you became, it took over your lives.
Totally, because I decided to change my life. So it was 2004. I decided to jump out of the family business and starting to take care of the winery. That was just, started the first vintage was 2000. So very soon I decided to quit my previous family business and to start just to take care of vines and then to produce the wine and become a wine producer.
Okay, so this is now already your 21st vintage then that you've made since you took over.
It is, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
It's my 21st.
Yeah. And you produce the classic wines of Valpolicella. Valpolicella Ripasso,
Exactly.
Amarone, and Recioto.
And Amarone Reserva as well.
Amarone Reserva.
Exactly.
Tell us about the grape varieties, because Valpolicella and these wines are not single varietal wines. They come from a blend. Tell us about the grape varieties and what they contribute.
Yeah, the beauty of Valpolicella is that with the same grape varietals, we get 6 different wines, just changing the vinification. But the blend is mainly done from Corvina, that is the main one. Then we have Corvinone. Then we have Rondinella. It was Molinara in the past. Now you can use it, but with a certain amount, so it's not free. And then you can add other indigenous or native varietals, like we grow Ozzoletta. Ozzoletta, for example, is very old, indigenous, and very rustic grape that brings to the wine the color, so it's very dark. Gives a little bit of richness in spiciness, so it gives some touch of white pepper, and so it brings this specific thing to the wine.
Okay.
Then we have Corvina and Corvinone that are the main grapes. And those,
what percentage would be Corvina and Corvinone?
Let's say that both of them together at least is always never less than 60 to 70%.
Okay, so they're really the backbone of the wine.
Absolutely. Then all the others is just to have a little bit of flower notes, or you get a little bit of spicy notes, or you get a little bit of other things. But the main cherry note comes from Corvina and Corvinone.
Okay, and that Ozzoletta is just giving a bit of structure and tannin. Any tannin coming from it?
It comes, from both of them, but the main tannic one is for sure Ozzoletta. Ozzoletta is super tannic.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. Now, as far as the training, you still cultivate some on the traditional pergola veronese?
On 50 hectares, let's say that 1/3 is in pergola and 2/3 is in Guyot.
Okay.
Yeah. We are now slowly going back to pergola, so we are converting a little bit of the 2/3 into pergola again.
Why would you be going back? It's more labor intensive, the pergola, isn't it?
It is, but it's something that was in Valpolicella since ever, and the reason was that pergola helps you to avoid to get this dryness that you get during the hot summer.
Okay.
And helps whenever you have a lot of humidity, because the height of the length of the tree, the vine, is much longer than the Guyot. Guyot is very short, where the pergola is much higher than Guyot. So if you have humidity used to be sticked into the ground. So it is better if it is taller, and you get more distance between the ground and the fruit.
Okay.
So the humidity side.
Perhaps then with climate change and warming, then we see that these old traditional ways of training were.
It helps much more, because you have more shadow, and so the bunches doesn't get burned from the sun, so it's really much better.
But harder work to harvest. You have to reach up to the bunches.
Oh,
yeah.
It's really hard, and it takes much more time. It's even more difficult to do all the things you do, just for example, the cut grassing, all those things, because you need to have specific tractors, you need to have specific machineries.
And the spacing between the vines is different.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about the wines themselves. Starting with your Valpolicella. For you, what are you looking for in the classic Valpolicella?
The classic Valpolicella is the wine that has to have, for sure, two important things. The first one is the fruitiness, so it has to be fruity. Cherry, as I said before, cherry note has to be there, is the prevalent one. And then the other one needs to have the acidity, so the freshness. Doesn't need to have any touch of oak or heavy tannins. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to drink after so short aging, because you don't age that long. It's just a few months in the bottle and then straight to the bottle, straight to the glass.
So that beautiful fruit ready to drink the year after it's been made.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, of course, Amarone and Recioto are wines that are made from semi-dried grapes that undergo this period of appassimento. When do you actually select the grapes that you're going to be drying? Is that done before the main harvest or at the same time as the harvest?
No, we just start to collect, in different moments. So, for example, you start from Corvina and then you go to Rondinella and then you go to Corvinone. But the selection is done by hand and by the guys who used to harvest. So is immediately done in the moment we start the harvest.
Okay. And you're looking for something different in the grapes that will be dried than what you would be using to press fresh.
For sure, you need to collect only the best fruit.
Okay.
You cannot start to collect everything, because if something has any kind of issue, even a broken bunch or a broken piece of the fruit, you cannot use it, because otherwise, once you start drying that, any cut that is in the bunch is going to allow the mold to multiplicate and to go everywhere in the production.
Right. So the grapes are then laid out to dry on cane?
No, we don't use cane. We started to use this plastic box because what we believe is that we sanitize totally and completely with the machine that we use to steam all the boxes, so we don't have any kind of let's say problem, any kind of
from the container.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's perfectly clean, and the fruit has to be in a perfect place.
Okay, and where is that perfect place? I want to give people a picture of these rooms full of this aroma of grapes drying. It's a very special, really, Valpolicella in that respect is so different from other wines because of this period of appassimento. We need to have two good harvests, the first harvest, but also the right conditions during the drying.
Sure, that's why, as I said, not only the box, but even the room has to be super clean, has to be without any kind of issue, without flies going in. That's why we have decided to build, it's a huge room where we stock all these cases, all these boxes, and it's totally surrounded by windows, so we have natural wind blowing in.
Okay.
We don't use that much machineries because we like to have the natural air and the warm air that you get during September, October, and a little bit more humid during November, just because that helps to have the proper maturation, the proper drying. Consider that in this period you lose something between 25 to 35% of the weight just in evaporation. So during this moment where you have a lot of humidity into the room, you need to have all those big windows with the wind blowing in and trying to dry the room as much as possible.
Right. Now, does the building need to be situated in a certain direction to get the best wind? What is the wind that comes down that dries the grapes? Is there one wind that is a drier, less humid wind that you want to open up to, or is any wind?
Let's say it's any wind during the day. That's why during the night we close all the windows, we close all the door, just because we don't want to get the humidity of the night. But during the day, the regular day, where it's sun shining outside, where it's a perfect condition, everything is open, the wind blows in. It can come from north, west, or east. It doesn't
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. And these grapes that have dried, you can make the three wines: Amarone Riserva, and Recioto. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the vinification then.
Let's start from drying. So we dry the grape, as I was saying, for a specific period that goes between minimum 2 months up to 3.5 months. You dry a little bit more the grape that has to be used for recioto, so the sweeter wine we produce. Then the technique is the same. So we just, as soon as the drying is over, we just start the fermentation. Fermentation, due to high concentration of sugar and to cold temperature that you get between December and January, the fermentation takes at least between 30 to 40 days to finish. So it's a very long fermentation. So if you stop the fermentation, let's say at a specific moment that can be between 50% or 60% of this time, you still have something sweet and you get the recioto one. So you don't allow all the sugar to evolve into alcohol. If you don't stop it, all the sugar evolves into alcohol, then you get something that from sweet, like recioto one, goes into the bitterness because all the sugar goes into the alcohol, and the alcohol is bitter for it.
What percentage alcohol would be the recioto and the sweeter wine with still some residual sugar, and then the finished Amarone?
In our case, we have, just to give you the right numbers, 13% of alcohol in the recioto, up to 16.5% in the Amarone.
Wow, so that yeast can still work to...
And the sugar we have into the recioto is 120 grams per liter.
Goodness. Wow.
And in Amarone is 3 to 5 grams per liter.
Wow, that's incredible.
Really?
Yeah. The Amarone Riserva, is that a question of aging longer?
By the law, by the appellation, it's just a request of aging 1 year longer than the regular one. What we do is totally different process. We started in 2015 not to dry and to age them in the classic method, but we started to dry and age into amphora.
Oh.
Yeah, totally different method. So it's no oak, it's not stainless steel for fermentation, but it's totally in amphora. It's a very tiny production. It's 3,000 few hundred bottles. But we start from the drying. So as soon as we finish to dry all the grape, we go into each box and we start to pick all the best bunch after 3 months. So whatever is perfect and didn't get any kind of trouble, any issue, we just separate the grape. And according to what we separate, we start this specific fermentation and vinification into the amphora.
Okay, so the vinification actually is in the amphora.
Absolutely.
Now, what does amphora give that's different from fermentation, either in stainless steel or in wood?
For example, the fermentation, one of the craziest things is that fermentation in stainless steel, that we have this beautiful tank that you can control the temperature control, you can do anything you want. In amphora, you cannot control anything. So it's by the nature. It starts when it wants and it finishes when it's ready.
Okay.
So consider that, as I was saying, 30 to 40 days, you get the fermentation in the stainless steel. In amphora can last even for 80 to 85 days.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Really.
Incredible. And still bubbling away
It's still bubbling. It's very slow motion bubbling, but it starts in a very slow motion and then slowly go into the proper way. But it takes really at least 70 to 85, 87 days.
That's incredible.
Really.
So if you're a winemaker that loves control, that wants to know exactly precise when things are going to happen,
You cannot do that.
This is not the method.
No way.
But you trust the wine, you trust your grapes, and you let it go where it's going.
Yeah, when you choose the right grape, when you know that your material, your fruit is perfect, you're sure that something will
Something special.
Yeah,
will come.
something special will come.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, after the recioto, the Amarone Riserva, you have the Vinace that are left over. Is this the grape pomace? Is this what you will be using then for your Valpolicella ripasso?
Absolutely. So as soon as we finish the fermentation of Amarone, we just take out the wine, only the wine from the fermentation tank, and then we leave all the skins, all this vinace, and a little bit of course, of choice of Amarone into the bottom of the tank. And then we pump the Valpolicella on top, going through the skins. This specific action is called ripasso, so paste again, because the Valpolicella passes through the skins of Amarone, and there 90% of the time starts a secondary fermentation.
Okay.
So it's a secondary fermentation. It's a very fast one, 3 to 4 days.
But that's a little bit of extra alcohol?
It's a little bit of extra alcohol, adds a little bit of, color, is darker.
Yeah.
And then the structure is a little bit more body, so you get this
from the skin
dry extract that is better, is richer than the previous that you started to put into the tank.
Okay, wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about. It's such a beautiful area for people to visit, and I hope that our listeners will be exploring the Valpolicella and come and visit you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Tell me about the foods, the traditional foods of the Valpolicella.
Okay, let's start saying that. Since we came from a different, my family was in the garment, as I was saying. When we started producing the wine, so we became producer. The first reaction of the community, even in Verona, was a little bit negative because they said that it was just for us an hobby, was a heavy and hard hobby. So they were betting that we were kind of finishing this hobby very soon because, as I said, it's very hard, it's very competitive, and so on. So to prove that, we started to think to open even the hospitality side. So we opened 2005 one little osteria, is a wine bar in downtown Verona, just to prove that it was not just an hobby, but we were really believing to become not only a winemaker, but a different winemaker. Someone who knows how to pair the wine with food. And not only with local food, even if we serve mainly local food. But even with something that we can get in, for example, Asian food that is a little bit more spicy, or South American food that is a little bit more hot, let's say. So we decided since the beginning to produce wine that was perfectly pairing with food and not just good for us or good for you. It was something that was really matching with the food. As I said, mainly with the typical food that we serve in Veneto, so with a lot of things that we serve here. Then we decided to open a little, on the hospitality side, a little wine relay with a few rooms. It's 16 rooms where we can host people and they can live with us.
Is that actually in the wine country?
It is in the middle of the vineyard.
In the middle of the vineyard.
Right in
Wonderful.
the middle of the vineyard.
That's such a wonderful experience for people to be able to actually live experience and taste the wine while they're amidst the vines.
We believed since the beginning that the only way to prove that we are serious and doing great things is to come and live with us what we are doing. So you can stay there, you can prune with us, you can harvest with us, you can even be in production with us. So totally, we are open to see people coming and working, enjoying with us what we are doing.
Actually, that's wonderful. It takes the experience of tasting wine with a wine producer even further if you can actually get into the canteen and get a sense of all the effort involved in making wine.
Absolutely. We have sometimes our distributor, they used to send people working with them just to understand and better understand how we produce and how much effort we put into the wine.
Yeah, I'm really interested as well that you're also concerned with matching your wines, not just with the local flavors, the local foods, but because you're selling your wines all around the world, they have to pair well with international cuisine.
Absolutely.
What would be an international pairing that you would say works particularly well with one of your wines?
I was impressed once. I was in center of America and I was in a restaurant. By coincidence, I was there. It was a Thai restaurant, but I was not in Thailand. I was right in the center of America, as I was saying. And he was one of the biggest consumer of our ripasso. And I was shocked. I say, how is it possible that my ripasso is so good in a Thai restaurant? So I went there. I was having food with them, and they say, can you explain the reason you sell so much ripasso? And they say, it's so easy. Taste my food that is very spicy together with your ripasso.
Wow.
And was matching perfectly.
Is
and
that
I was
right?
like, wow.
Yeah, that sort of soft roundness that comes perhaps...
and reduce a little bit the spiciness that you get from the flavor of, Thai is very spicy, like Mexican, like, those kind of food that are really with a lot of pepperoncino, spicy.
Yeah, no, that sounds actually a wonderful match.
Yeah. The other one on the opposite side. I was in Sicily years ago, and a friend of mine said, "Today we go to have some very fresh food by the sea," and I was like, "I can't wait for it." So we went by the sea, and we were having this food, and he started to serve raw scampi. You know scampi, like prawns.
Yeah.
Okay, it was totally raw, just fished.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what kind of wine are you serving? And he said, "I'm serving you Amarone." I was like, "Are you sure?" And I was so really not sure that the pairing was the best. But then when I tasted the scampi, that was, of course, amazing, was super fresh and super good, together with the Amarone, I understood that Amarone still has some sweetness from the sugar residual. Some sugar residual is still there and goes together with the sweetness of the raw fish, the raw scampi, that is very sweet because it's fat. Then alcohol helps to clean up your palate.
Sure.
And then the beautiful thing is that as soon as you eat and drink, 3 seconds after, the scampi comes back in your palate.
Wow.
And is really something outstanding.
Actually, I've tasted some of the raw scampi and Gambero Rosso in Sicily.
Rosso, yeah.
And when you have that Gambero Rosso, it's the tingle and the flavor in the mouth stays a long time. And that persistence in your wine would be doing the same. So I can see that would be absolutely...
It's a perfect matching. Really. I was super impressed.
Wow, great. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah.
So your osteria in the middle of Verona, what is that called? Because I'm going to be making a beeline to it.
It's called Osteria del Bugiardo.
Del Bugiardo.
Bugiardo means the liar.
I see.
The liar because our ripasso has been named the liar.
Okay.
Since the beginning. We were just trying to understand how good was our winemaker. Imagine that we started coming from a different business, and we hired one very young winemaker. At that time, he was 23 years old, promoted by the university as one of the most talented wine guy coming out from the university. And I was like, okay, let's start with him. So we did the interview. So he started with us after a couple of months. We wanted to understand if he was so talented. So we named one expert sommelier in Verona to come in the cellar and taste the wines. While tasting the ripasso, you say, this is a very nice, soft, and not so much alcoholic Amarone. So we were a little bit shocked, and we say, thank you, but this is not an Amarone, it's just a ripasso. He was more shocked than us, and he said, if it is not an Amarone, this is a liar wine.
Oh.
And so my father said, okay, let's name it the liar.
Right.
And that happened. So we opened the osteria a couple of years after, and I say, Dad, let's call our Osteria del Bugiardo.
Okay, that's a wonderful name.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for being my guest today, for coming in. I know you're sleeping a little bit better now that the grapes are in, and you can relax.
Much better.
Yeah.
much better.
Well, I'm delighted that it's been such a good harvest, and I look forward to eventually tasting the wines.
Please come. We wanted to show you around, not only in the drying building, but we want to show you around even in our hospitality side, just to check if what we say that it's really true or not.
I would love to, and I'll look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you so much.
Grazie mille.
Grazie.
Grazie tanto.
So that is all we have time for today. Thank you again to Mariano Buglioni for being our guest today. We will see you soon on another episode of Wine to Wine 2021 Clubhouse Marathon. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.
Hi everybody! Italian Wine Podcast celebrates its 4th anniversary this year, and we all love the great content they put out every day. Chin Chin with Italian wine people has become a big part of our day, and the team in Verona needs to feel our love. Producing the show is not easy, folks. Herding all those hosts, getting the interviews, dropping the Clubhouse recordings, not to mention editing all the material. Let's give them a tangible fan hug with a contribution to all their costs. Head to ItalianWinePodcast.com and click donate to show your love.